Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 21 based on novel. So let's start. Inside the main hall, Xiao Yan suddenly opened his eyes with ecstasy surging in his eyes. Success? The Golden Dragon King, who had been following Xiao Yan all the time, was stunned when he saw him like this, and then he laughed a little. The trace of dragon energy from the yin-yang profound dragon pill just now merged with the bloodthirsty dragon lizard's blood essence. It seems that the violent aura in it has been refined and purified. Xiao Yan also took the lead. This refining process did not seem to be as difficult as he imagined. It seems to be the effect of different fire and thunder. The Golden Dragon King's eyes showed a look of contemplation. After a while, he said slowly, he also did not expect that the powerful power contained in both flame and thunder, for this kind of power. Possessing negative emotions has such a powerful restraining effect. Originally, according to its expectations, Xiao Yang wanted to refine the violence in the merged pure Yinguang group, and it would take at least a few days of hard work. However, the process in front of him was shortened tenfold. Xiao Yang also nodded slightly. He had felt it during the refining process. The effect of Zhu Xian Jin Lei on the violent emotions was too strong. So easy. Now that the pure Yinguang group has been refined, the next step of fusion can be carried out. It's the fusion of yin and yang, which is somewhat inferior. I don't know how far it can reach. The Golden Dragon King also spoke slowly. The so-called yin and yang heart is the condensed blood of a strong person's whole life, and is only inferior to a powerful treasure like essence and blood. And the biggest effect of yin and yang is to help people break through the current bottleneck. Xiao Yang is also clear that now is the last step to devour this yin and yang heart, so that the fighting qi in the body and the yin and yang heart are blended to form a tacit understanding, and then the power of the yin and yang heart will be merged. How far can the condensed yin and yang hearts make oneself reach? Thinking of this, Xiao Yang also had some expectations and closed his eyes again. At this moment, in his body, there are two black and one white light groups exuding warm and moist power entrenched in the slowly squirming, as if they have life. The pure yin energy that was decomposed by the yin-yang Shenlong pill no longer resisted Xiao Yang's control. Therefore, he just had a thought, and the black yin-yang heart light group that had been suppressed floated out. The people met fiercely. Boom! The pure yin energy in the yin-yang Shenlong pill and the pure yang energy of the black yin-yang heart just met, as if they had a strong attraction to each other. They converged together. In the light group, there is black in white, and white in black. After that, the entire light group floated out of Nashi, turned into countless bloodshots, and swept away all the blood vessels in Xiao Yang's body. The pure power covered the blood vessels, and then a trace of infiltration entered, and in an instant it merged with the blood in it. Crunch! At the moment when the two strands of blood met, Xiao Yang clearly felt that his body, as if he had been injected with a bulking agent, suddenly became stronger, and under his skin. The extremely moving and terrifying power was rushing frantically like horned dragons, trying to rush out of the body, venting such terrifying destructive power. At this moment, Xiao Yang's eyes also had a trace of crimson blood, and the blood-red eyes were still filled with calmness. Xiao Yang's body abruptly stood up on the surface of his body, and streaks of milky white sheen emerged from Xiao Yi's body on the shoulders. From a distance, it looked like the iron-blooded Azura crawling out of hell, exuding a ferocious power. What a powerful force! Xiao Yang felt that the huge force of yin and yang slowly moisturizing the whole body, and then the force in the body also skyrocketed at this moment. The midterm peak of Samsung Do Di. The late Samsung Do Di. The peak of the late Samsung Do Di. The true pinnacle of Samsung Do Di. It is only one step away from that 4-star Do Emperor. Feeling the madly surging pure energy in his body and the soaring power at this time, an ecstatic smile appeared on Xiao Yang's face. He could feel that now, with this body alone, he can compete with the powerhouses of the 4-star Do Emperor. If he uses different fires and fighting skills, even if he is facing the powerhouses of the early stage of the 4-star Do Emperor, he still has the confidence to fight head-on. Yes, the strength of the 3-star Do Di peak, if the real combination of yin and yang, will obviously break through the 4-star. The Golden Dragon King also laughed. Bang! Damn it! How can there be so much power? Xiao Yan also did not expect that the energy contained in the yin and yang heart condensed by the 7-star Do Di powerhouse was so terrifying, because his physical quality could not support it. Damn it! The body can't absorb such a powerful force, it's going to explode. Xiao Yan also felt that something was wrong after the yin and yang hearts merged with each other. If this absorption continues, Xiao Yan's body will definitely explode. Although Do Di is not afraid of the destruction of the body, the big deal is to make a new body, but in this way, the soul will also be damaged. Once the soul is injured, it will hurt the source. Just when Xiao Yan was desperately suppressing the power that was about to overflow in his body, Xiao Yi, who was on his shoulders, babbled. "Pass out the excess energy to me," Xiao Yi also said. When Xiao Yan heard this, he was also slightly startled, but there was no other way at the moment, so he had to control the huge energy that came out of his body. Huge black and white energy poured out of Xiao Yan's body crazily, and just as it appeared on Xiao Yan's body, it was absorbed by Xiao Yi in a big mouth. To Xiao Yi, it seemed to be the purest yin-yang heart. Energy is the best supplement. Xiao Yi's milky white body like a baby had a tiny black and white aura flowing. After the last trace of energy in his body was absorbed by Xiao Yi, Xiao Yan also calmed down, frowning and looking at Xiao Yi worriedly. Would something go wrong after it absorbed such a huge amount of energy? After looking at it for a while, she found out which energy Xiao Yi was adjusting, and then carefully looked at her body. Xiao Yan kicked out with a kick. Immediately, the stone steps behind him were directly blasted into powder by his kick. Immediately, another set of punches was fired. Suddenly, in the hall, the air burst, and there were invisible streaks. The air cannon was formed under Xiao Yan's fist, and roared on the surrounding stone walls, making bursts of roars. Boom! Xiao Yan punched out, and the bronze door blocking the entrance of the hole did not burst open like tofu, but it was normal, and the guardian stone door of the seven-star Do Emperor was not ordinary. His figure flashed, and he let the faint trace of sunlight pour onto his body, and then, with the extreme joy in his heart, he finally couldn't help but raised his head to the sky and howled like a sound wave, sending some rocks nearby. There were tiny cracks all over the place. She turned her head and looked at Su Shui's cyan light group. It seemed that she was still swallowing it, and then she turned to look at Xiao Yi. "Master, what's wrong with Xiao Yi?" Xiao Yan turned his head to see Xiao Yi, who was drowsy and couldn't help asking in shock. The Golden Dragon King also looked at Xiao Yi as if he was thinking about something. Xiao Yan also frowned. Xiao Yi was not only a great help in his own battle, but also a close partner who was inseparable. What excess energy was swallowed up by Xiao Yi just now, and this happened? If something happened to Xiao Yi, Xiao Yang also. Is this the legendary promotion? The Golden Dragon King looked at Xiao Yi for a while and then muttered to himself. Promotion? Xiao Yang also asked in confusion. I mentioned before that fire elves are wonders of heaven and earth. They have contained very powerful energy since they were born, and fire elves are divided into 5 stages: infancy, growth, and maturity. Peak time. It is said that each promotion of the fire elf requires a huge amount of energy as its bag, and after each promotion, its strength will undergo a qualitative change. The final promotion to the 2nd rank and even rumors will lead to a catastrophe, which is unexpectedly true. However, the promotion of the fire elf is a bit special. After swallowing such a powerful force, there must be a process of slowly absorbing and slowly transforming. The Golden Dragon King also looked at the increasing energy in Xiao Yi's body and said. Xiao Yang was also surprised. He knew that even if the beasts were promoted, generally powerful beasts would be able to transcend tribulation and break through the current realm to reach a stronger realm. I have never heard of a situation like Xiao Yi. Sleeping and transforming? Although surprised, Xiao Yang didn't ask too much and wanted to walk over and hug Xiao Yi. Ordinary fire elves can speak human words and have the same intelligence as human beings even in their infancy, but what do I think is wrong with this fire elves? It seems, was wiped out of wisdom? The Golden Dragon King also found something. Immediately, he formed a seal with his backhand, and a ball of memory light appeared in front of Xiao Yang's eyes. Xiao Yang also looked at the light group in front of him, as if he had returned to the demon fire space where Xiao Yi had been subdued. Jinglian Yaosheng, how I want to grow up is my own business, you have too much control. The light around the demon lotus bloomed slightly, and the roar of the Jinglian demon fire also came from it. I just don't want you to end up in self-destruction. I made you look like this, then let me end everything in the end. The phantom stared at the demon lotus and the handprint changed only to see the 2 sides that enveloped the world. The formation suddenly swept up and down, and a huge fire curtain shot out from the center of the formation, and then formed a 4-sided fire-mad prison as fast as lightning, blocking the demon lotus in. The wisdom and memory I gave you, after I take it away, you will once again have the purity that was when I first discovered you. When my deadline was approaching, I thought about erasing your memory, but I couldn't do it, so I sealed you. Thinking of you can resolve the violence and killing in my heart, but now it seems that thousands of years of seals have made it difficult for me to do so. Your hatred is even stronger, since that's the case. Jinglian Yaosheng looked at the frantically struggling Jinglian Yaohua, sighed, and his handprints changed, only to see that the huge formation covering tens of thousands of feet in a radius actually began to move from the outside. The inside began to collapse, but as the outer periphery of the great formation collapsed, the pillar of fire that blocked the Jinglian demon fire became more and more solid. Boom! Refining the ancient formation, peeling off. The illusory palm of the Jinglian demon sage waved lightly, and in the fire curtain there were dense lines of fire in the violent bursts. These lines of fire formed a fire net, deeply imprinted in the depths of the demon lotus, and then the fire net was slowly pulled up, and a trace of blood-colored mist was slowly forced away from the body of the demon lotus. Bang! At this moment, the light group shattered, and the Golden Dragon King also knew something. The wonders of the world, such as the Fire Elf, are pure and pure with the purity of their masters, and dark and dark. Since the main body of the Fire Spirit's predecessor was deprived of its violent aura, let's start to cultivate it again. This time, we can't let this wonder of the world go astray. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly. Xiao Yan heard it and knew that the power of the Fire Elves is strong, but if they go the wrong way, they will be out of control. Immediately, he nodded and walked towards Xiao Yi. Master, what should we do now? Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask when he saw Xiao Yi, whose energy was getting stronger and stronger in his body. Originally, you have Nashi in your body that can hold fire spirits, but now it needs to be promoted, and you need to find a quiet place with the power of fire. The promotion of the Fire Elf will unlock the intellect that is not weaker than that of humans, and this promotion is also a slow process for it, ranging from months to years. The Golden Dragon King looked at the Fire Elf with a sleepy appearance. The quietest place. Xiao Yan was also surprised. He had just arrived in the Do Di continent, and he was not familiar with each other. Where could he find a quiet place for Xiao Yi to slowly advance and change, and even if he found Xiao Yi, Yan didn't worry about Xiao Yi either. If that's the case, your body has a strong power of flame, that's the best place. The Golden Dragon King clearly saw Xiao Yan's concerns. But your Nashi is not enough to accommodate the current Fire Elves. You need to open up another space in your body so that the Fire Elves can sleep and transform. Shinshin closed his eyes. Use your fighting spirit and soul power to condense at Indonesia. The Golden Dragon King's words also slowly came to Xiao Yan's mind. Bang! A series of low muffled sounds rang out, and with the efforts of Xiao Yan's milky white grudge and huge invisible soul power, he finally succeeded in opening up a space for the fire spirit. You can rest assured to advance. Xiao Yan held Xiao Yi in both hands, like the closest brother. Xiao Yi also tried her best to open her eyes and look at Xiao Yan. After hearing the latter's words, her pure baby-like gaze suddenly jumped, and without hesitation, it turned into a ball of light and moved towards Xiao Yan's body. And go. Xiao Yan also felt that in the inner space that he had just opened up, Xiao Yi was in it and began to slowly transform. Just wait slowly. The Golden Dragon King also said after watching Xiao Yan finish this series of things. Xiao Yan felt his body. The thing that he was worried about because Xiao Yi was promoted and could not use the power of the strange fire did not happen. After all, Xiao Yi was the fire spirit after the fusion of the strange fire, and the strange fire was the source of the strange fire that Xiao Yang devoured. The two do not conflict, so it does not appear. Boom! After the matter had to be dealt with, the figure wrapped in blue flames not far away from Xiao Yang also quietly shattered, revealing a green lotus. On the green lotus platform, Su Shuiying was standing slowly among them. Xiao Yang felt a more terrifying aura than before. Is it swallowed? Su Shuiying also opened her mouth slightly. She never thought that Xiao Yang's speed was so fast. Yeah. Xiao Yang also responded. Su Shuiying also said with a slight wrinkle in her eyes. The next step is the biggest treasure of this ruin. The blood essence of the peak powerhouse of the 7-star Do Emperor. Just after Su Shuiying's words fell, Xiao Yang also looked at Su Shuiying and the skeleton on the throne with narrowed eyes. Boom! Su Shuiying raised her jade hand slightly, and the blue flames attacked the skeleton of the throne. Even if the power of the terrifying blue holy flame was burning the entire throne skeleton, the skeleton would remain motionless. A mere stumbling block, break it. When Su Shuiying saw this, a ray of light suddenly flashed on the jade ring, and then a delicate jade bottle appeared in her hand. In the jade bottle, a drop of unknown liquid was beating slowly, and then, with Su Shuiying's soft drink, the jade bottle shattered, and the liquid inside flew towards the skeleton of the throne. This woman is really smart, but now there's a good show to watch. However, just as the Golden Dragon King's voice fell, a slightly playful voice suddenly sounded in the empty stone hall, which shocked Xiao Yan and Su Shuiying, and hurriedly cast their gazes over, only to see the sarcophagus. Above the gravel throne, a little red light floated up, and finally turned into an illusory figure, smilingly looking at Xiao Yan and the two. The whole body of light and shadow is illusory, obviously not real, and this light and shadow looks about middle-aged, very young, with a smooth face and elegant temperament. Did it appear? Seeing this person who suddenly appeared, Su Shuiying frowned slightly, and she couldn't help but echo the trace of strangeness in her body just now and said in a deep, angry voice. Hee, you are a fierce woman. You smashed my lover's skeleton and the sarcophagus to pieces, and you have an opinion on me. The elegant man who just appeared turned his head and glanced at the coffin under the throne and couldn't help but smile and said. Hearing this, both Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying's expressions changed. Is this the master of the tomb? Hee, don't be nervous, it's true that I'm dead. This is just a remnant of the soul left, and it's still sealed inside the skeleton. If you don't use your strength to resonate, I can't show up. The elegant man smiled. Road? Shameless, thanks to you being a senior, you actually used such despicable methods. Su Shuiying gritted her silver teeth, and there was anger in her clear moo. Obviously there is a trace of hostility towards the yin and yang matter just now. The matter of men and women is in line with the theory of yin and yang of heaven and earth, so why is it shameless to say that as long as the two love each other and complement each other's cultivation, wouldn't it be better, said the elegant man. Full of nonsense. Su Shuiying said. However, it seems to me that the yin and yang forces in your body are a little unbalanced, and this wastes the good fortune I gave you. The elegant man smiled slowly. With the strength of the elegant man, it is natural to see something wrong in the two people's bodies at first sight. You kid, looking at the power of flame and soul, you should be an alchemist with a high rank, right? It's no wonder that you can break my dead end. The yin and yang heart was originally for the beauty of an adult. You are so good. The elegant man also stared at Xiao Yang carefully. Even if he was stared at by such a trace of remnant soul, Xiao Yang couldn't help trembling. The peak powerhouse of the 7-star Do Di was indeed well-deserved. When Su Shuiying heard that the elegant man in front of her was looking at Xiao Yan like this, she couldn't help but look at Xiao Yan again. An alchemist who can be called a high-ranking pharmacist by the peak of the 7-star Do Emperor must be extremely powerful. But it's okay, since it's my inheritance, it's naturally a fate. Originally, this hall is just a way to store yin and yang hearts. Since the yin and yang hearts have been taken, this place is useless. Come with me, the two of you. Go to the real main room. The elegant man waved his hand, and a passage appeared in the space in front of him. A strange smile appeared on the elegant man's face, and his eyes swept across Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying. Xiao Yang's face was full of weird expressions. This guy, is there something wrong with his brain? What do you want to do? Hearing his words, Su Shuiying's eyes were slightly cold, and there was a hint of coldness in her clear voice. If you destroy the bones of my lover, I will destroy you as well, but since you can get the yin and yang heart, it is considered a destiny. I can see some clues from you. I think you also need blood essence, right? So I be the beauty of an adult. Come with me if you want blood essence, said the elegant man. Su Shuiying snorted coldly. Obviously, there was no accident. It was inevitable that her secrets would be seen by the owner of the ruins. Then Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying also looked at each other and immediately followed. Just after breaking through the passage, what appeared in front of the two of them was a black cave. Inside the cave, there was a dark and narrow road leading to nowhere. The elegant man was slowly looking at the two of them from the front. Looking around, the black hole was completely dark, and there was only one road in front of them. Let's go. The elegant man was also leading the way. When Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying heard it, they thought for a while and followed up. Since they have come to this last step, they can't back down any longer. Walking in the quiet and dark cave, a faint chill lingered all over the body. In the quiet passage, there were only the slight footsteps of the two of them. The dark surroundings made Su Shuiying hug each other involuntarily. She raised her head and looked at Xiao Yang, who was walking slowly in front of him. Qinglian also retracted her acceptance ring. She hesitated slightly, then took a few steps quickly and followed closely behind him. In this unknown bad situation, only the young man in front of her could make her feel a little more secure. After walking in such a quiet atmosphere for more than 10 minutes, just when Su Shuiying couldn't stand the darkness that was so quiet that it could make people mad, the heavy-footed boy in front suddenly stopped. "Here we are, this is where the blood essence is," the elegant man said slowly, feeling as if a student who was studying abroad had returned home. Boom! The elegant man walked towards the shaman with all his vindictiveness. The shaman trembled and then burst open. Just as the stone gate was opened, the fragrance of flowers soaring to the sky spread out, and then Xiao Yang was as if he had seen the most delicious food. Wan Lingxi, Wo Hui Guo. Several precious medicinal materials that were rarely seen by the outside world appeared in front of Xiao Yang's eyes. For a high-level pharmacist, nothing was more exciting than precious medicinal materials, because even a high-level pharmacist, without medicinal materials, it is difficult for a clever woman to cook without rice. Su Shuiying also swept over the herbs on the ground with her beautiful eyes, and then lifted her jade-like neck to reveal a seductive collarbone, losing her voice. "Emperor's blood essence, I have found you." Xiao Yang also turned his head to look inside the shaman under Su Shuiying's loss of voice, and slowly surrounded a few drops of red blood on the skeleton's palm in mid-air, because he also felt an unprecedented pressure from there. "That's all I can bring. I hope you two little guys have good luck." After the elegant man said this, he completely turned into a small group of light like broken glass and disappeared in this world. As the figure of the elegant man slowly disappeared in this world, through the stone room, a majestic coercion also came from the jade-white skeleton. "This should be true, right?" Xiao Yang also muttered to himself. The owner of the ruins had previously created some so-called yin and yang combination of deceitful things, as well as many formations to obscure the eyes. Xiao Yang was also afraid of this. What else happened, and immediately looked around vigilantly. If you look around, you can see everything in this stone room. Entering from the stone gate, there are medicinal herbs growing everywhere, and a path is exposed in the middle leading to the depths of the stone gate. In the depths of the stone room, on a slightly high step, a body of jade-white skeleton slowly appeared. On the slightly high steps, a throne appeared in the eyes of the two of them. The skeleton above the throne was exactly the same as the one just outside. Xiao Yang also shrank his eyes tightly. Even this long-lost emperor's strength during his lifetime was extremely terrifying. If it was the resurrected 7-star Do Emperor, Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying would probably be about to die. The situation, but fortunately this is just a skeleton that has been lost for many years. But Xiao Yang didn't dare to take it lightly, and immediately looked around with vigilance, and then looked at the skeleton sitting cross-legged with fiery eyes. From Xiao Yang and Su Shuiying's perception, they knew that this was the deepest part of the ruins. The seat of the Emperor. 7-star Do D, this level, even for them, has an irresistible temptation, but they also know that under the irresistible temptation, crises also coexist. The powerhouses of the 7-star Do Emperor may be able to stand alone in this mysterious spirit continent, but they are still far from the true peak. However, the value contained in the bones and even the blood of the 7-star Do D powerhouse cannot be measured by money. And above that, Do D and Do Xian, this is almost a process of qualitative change. The gap between the two, almost nothing can make up. Is this the remains of a strong man as strong as the 7-star Do D? Xiao Yang muttered to himself, because it was only from the perception of breath and soul power, the strength and toughness contained in this skeleton were stronger than Xiao Yang's. What Yang has encountered before is several times stronger. That's it. Su Shuiying looked at the few drops of blood-red liquid on top of the bones from a distance, and couldn't help but a trace of fiery flashes in her beautiful eyes. The blood of the Emperor. That's the purpose of her trip. Even if you want to get it at all costs, otherwise you. Xiao Yang took a deep breath of cold air and started walking into the stone room. Looking around carefully. In the spacious stone room, many medicinal materials grow from the stone door, but the strange thing is that there is not a trace of plant growth around the skeleton located in the innermost part of the stone room. Looking at the more and more medicinal materials, and looking around the skeletons near the stone chamber, Xiao Yang suddenly felt an unpleasant feeling, and then he saw that something seemed to be stepped on under his feet. He grabbed Su Shuiying next to him and ran to the place where he entered, and said solemnly, "Fast back." Xiao Yang's strange behavior made Su Shuiying confused, but she also had an attitude of preferring to believe Xiao Yang's words or not, so although she was very doubtful about the purpose of his actions, or immediately showed his body and hurriedly followed. When Xiao Yang's figure retreated sharply, Su Shuiying immediately sensed that something was wrong. She activated the cyan battle chi around her body, picked up a stone with her hand, and flew towards the surroundings of the skeleton. The stone just came into contact with the space next to the Emperor's skeleton, and it stopped moving as if it had hit a thick wall. Then Xiao Yang saw that the originally dry Emperor's skeleton suddenly appeared a slight squirming, and then the space around the skeleton collapsed into countless extremely sharp space spikes, piercing the stone. Superior. Boom boom boom. The terrifying power instantly gathered towards the stones in the air, and the powerful power made the stones vanish. Su Shuiying also noticed the strangeness of the skeleton at this time, and then Mai Mu stared at the skeleton of the Emperor because she was shocked to see which drops of blood-red liquid that had been hovering on the palm of the skeleton gently dripped onto the skeleton. On the skeleton sitting cross-legged. That blood essence seems to be fused on top of the bones. Su Shuiying also opened her mouth slightly. Looking at the blood that fell on the jade-white bones, a feeling of extreme unease quietly emerged from the hearts of the two of them. Xiao Yang's eyes were fixed on the blood dripping on the bones. At this moment, the blood was slid, but it quietly penetrated like water that met cotton. When all the blood had penetrated into the skeleton, Xiao Yang's pupils suddenly shrank. At this moment, he suddenly felt that some life had emerged from the originally dry skeleton in front of him that had been lost for unknown years. Damn, go back. Su Shuiying was also quick to respond, and the moment she sensed the vitality, a rapid roar came from her mouth. At the same time, her feet stomped the ground, and her body was shot back like lightning. Just when they were about to go backwards, the jade-white skeleton sitting cross-legged on the stone seat trembled slightly, and then, the moment after the blood-red blood merged into the jade-white body, the hollow in the middle dark skull, two faint blood-red colors appeared flickeringly. Squeak! Just when the two exited the stone room, there was a sudden sound of bones twisting in the originally silent stone room. Under this sound, Xiao Yang and Su Shui also looked at each other, and then stared at Yu Yu. The white skeleton, on the skeleton, a breath of blood mist permeates the depths of the entire stone room. The aura spread out from the depths of the stone room at this moment, and the whole stone room filled with more seriousness. Squeaky. The sound of the skeleton touching the ground is from far to near. The sound is not loud, but it is like stepping on the hearts of the two, making people feel extremely depressed. Be careful, don't separate. Xiao Yang's face was solemn, and he turned his head to Su Shuiying and the others and said in a low voice, "This situation is completely out of control. The resurrection of the Emperor's bones is really too terrifying." Su Shuiying also nodded. She came here to gather enough information, but she obviously did not expect that the Master of the Ruins would be resurrected. If things go wrong this time, I am afraid that both of them will have to be buried here. In the stone room, the blood mist slowly fluctuated under the gazes of the two of them. Immediately, a skeleton whose whole body was dyed blood red by the power of essence and blood walked slowly through the blood mist and appeared in the second place. People looked down. Beat me, live? The loser, die? The blood-colored skeleton stopped a few meters in front of the two, and slowly raised his head. In the empty eyes, blood flashed, and an ancient and hoarse indifferent voice sounded softly in the stone room. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.